All right, good morning, guys. If you want to introduce yourselves, who are you? Where are you from? What's going on? Who are the kiddos? Just take it away.
Absolutely. Hi, my name is Ebony. I'm one fifth of Team Two Moms.
Hey, I'm Denise. I'm also one-fifth of Team Two Moms, and that is my wife that just introduced herself.
Yes, we have three amazing children. We have our oldest daughter, Olivia, who's 9 years old. I carried her. And then my wife, she carried the twins, Jaden and Lucas, who is a rambunctious 3-year-old.
Yes.
Oh, not the twins.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, what's the backstory? Where and when did y'all meet? How did this beautiful family start? I want the romance.
Well, it all started with a quick little message in her DMs on MySpace.
Yup.
Well, back then, I don't think it was referred to as DM. It was just like a regular message. But the only question that I asked her was like, "Do you want to be friends?" And
At first, I was like, "Ooh, who this skinny little girl?"
Yeah, I mean, we were talking. How long were we talking for? Like a few months, right, babe?
Yeah, we were talking on MySpace, and we're probably dating ourselves by saying MySpace. I'm not even sure if the young folks have heard of it.
Very first, it was the beginning of all this mess
that
we're in.
Yes, everybody was friends with Tom. Yeah, it was like the beginning of all this. But if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be where we are today.
I know.
Because I assume since you met online, were y'all in the same state?
We were saying in the Bronx. We both lived in the Bronx.
Got it.
You can filter out like location, mileage. I mean, you can get it down to a science to meet somebody, close by. And I think after I wouldn't even say a few months. I'm not going to give us that much credit. It was like a few weeks that we're meeting strangers off of the internet. I'm going to be honest, we met in person. We were both in relationships.
Oh, that's tea.
Yeah.
That's tea.
We're both in relationships.
But we weren't looking for love. We were looking for friendship.
Okay.
We were looking for friendship. And so we met in person. And then maybe almost a year later is when we started dating.
Actually being serious. Our relationships that we had at the time didn't work out. And me and her...
Very glad.
We really, I know, right? We really hit it off, and we were just like, I think this is something we can think about. And then next thing you know, we were moved in together.
Oh, wow.
The true U-hauling lesbian thing that lesbians do.
Yes.
We even got 2 cats at the time. I mean,
so it was serious.
It was serious. And then probably. We met in 2006. We got married in 2010. So 4 years later, we got married. And then literally like a year later, we had Olivia.
Wow. So this was probably, because I want to get into, that decision to start posting your lives online as both parents and as a family. And that was such a transformative time period. I mean, so when did you guys start? Like what year? Because the internet was so different back then to what it is now. So if you guys want to kind of talk to me about that.
It was very different. We started uploading, and I say uploading very loosely. We uploaded a single video in 2012. And the only reason why we uploaded that video was because that was the year former President Barack Obama was reelected for presidency. And he was also the first president to publicly support same-sex marriage and the LGBTQ community. And that's when the White House was lit in rainbow colors. It was a very historic moment for our community. So we just wanted to make one video just to share our excitement and finally being seen and heard and feeling accepted by such a strong public figure of the United States. And at the time when we filmed that video, our daughter, who was just 1, was sitting on Denise's lap, and nobody cared about what we said.
No.
All they focused on
is how did we make our baby?
Yes. How is she your daughter? So when you talk about almost 10 years ago, 9 years ago, there wasn't a huge presence of LGBTQ plus families and parenting. So
where was that representation?
Where was it?
Yeah.
Where was it? So it was just this bird eye lens view of how is she your daughter? Y'all 2 women. How y'all had her? That don't make no sense.
Which is, I mean, that's such a like double-edged sword of like, oh my God, this representation and it's so needed, but also like, man, why am I the one to have to be like, this is how artificial, you know, all of that works. So was that frustrating at first to be like, I guess we're the poster children now?
Not really. It was, I think, first of all, it popped us out of our own bubble because we've been surrounded by so much support. For us, it felt extremely normal. We didn't realize that there's this part of society that does not see the normalcy in our family. And so it was like a huge culture, community, social shock. Like, okay.
So to us, we thought it was the norm. It was just like, you know, we thought there was other families like ours, but it wasn't. The amount of questions that we got, it was just like overwhelming. And it was like, whoa, there is a need for us to kind of like be the ones to kind of explain and like, you know, be the role models in a sense.
Sure.
The educators as well, and educating people about how families like ours are formed. So by all means, we were honored to be that, to be a voice. And there were other voices. Don't get us wrong. We weren't the only. There were definitely other voices on the platforms that we were on, but we truly made it our mission to get it out there for sure.
Sure. Well, at the time, I mean, kind of, you know, going back to that time period, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, when was the decision to start posting, you know, more than that one video? And did you stick with it for sole purpose of educating, or was it more like this could be fun of sharing the experience because not a lot of people get to see that, you know, kind of what was the motivator there to keep posting?
I think one of the main motivators, actually, it kind of shifted for us. We started thinking, because we stopped making videos that was just so direct on like, okay, this is how we made our child. We just started sharing our lives naturally through vlogging. And so for us as a family, and it's like, okay, get what you get, take what you get. This is how our day is going. And then it turned into, wow, this is so cool that our kids are going to be able to go back and see their first birthday, their second birthday, their third. I wish I had video footage. So I really wish I had video footage of my childhood. So it became more of the motivator for us of having like this catalog for at the time our daughter to be able to look back on in her life. And then it slowly evolved into becoming Team to Mom, especially around the time when we expanded our family, because now we have the opportunity to directly show you the process. We already had Olivia when we first started. So now through Denise's journey of trying to conceive, that's when everything started to really truly kick off and be like, okay, this is like a serious thing.
Yeah. They got to see the whole process from insemination to when the boys were born. And that was just a way of us educating everyone and telling them this is how you get the process done if this is the way you want to go.
Sure. Well, was that process, because that's scary. I mean, that's scary. As brave and as, you know, courageous as that is to be like, this is how it is. And this, not only that, but this is our personal family. Was that scary in any sense of, you know, you're opening yourself up to the internet and their judgment and their critiques? You know, how did you know that going into it? Or was it kind of like, oh, damn, like halfway through?
You know, we had gotten the critique very early on, very, very early on. It was, even though it was a time period where we were, you know, so honored to be a voice for the community, there was another whole community, I'll say, that did not accept us, no matter how you tried your best to show the normalcy of our family. There is just still people who will never accept or understand families like ours. And so because we went through that from the very onset, at a certain point, you kind of turn that energy into being your fuel, into being your motivation, into staying on the internet and to continue sharing your voice, because those negative comments are the reason why we need more representation. Absolutely. So we just kind of changed the way we looked at the negative feedback we would get or the negative comments we would get, and just turned it into fuel to continue, you know, sharing our lives. One of the big things I would say, yes, it's very scary sharing our lives, but being that we are the ones holding the camera, we're the ones editing, we have a lot of control. Exactly. We have a lot of control on what moments are appropriate to upload, what moments do we want to share. And by having that, I think it helps a lot in being able to share our family online, for sure. We definitely have we do not share this. We do not pull out a camera. If our kids are having a tantrum, that is not the time to pull out a camera. That's the time to parent and help them through whatever they're going through. So, we have that.
And we both review, like, anything that's posted, we both look it over and make sure that, we're both in agreement with, like, what we want to share and what we don't want to share.
I love that. And that's very healthy too, because there's a way to do this, of putting your life online. And I appreciate that commitment to authenticity through all of this of, you could go clickbaity real quick of, kid throws a, whatever, all the lingo and the terms you use in thumbnails and all that of just like, if you want the clicks and the money and the views, there's a way to get it. But parents and having young children online, I think y'all do an excellent balance of, showing the real things that happen in a family, but also maintaining that semblance of privacy that is necessary.
Absolutely.
And I kind of wanted to ask you guys too about, is internet privacy a concern to you guys, obviously for the kids, but for you guys too? What are your thoughts on the children's privacy?
Privacy and security has always been
number one.
I mean, when I tell you our number one, we went by like aliases for a very long time.
We didn't disclose our last names for a while.
I think just the ending of 2020, we disclosed our last name finally.
Wow.
You're talking about being on the internet for 8 years and nobody knowing our last name. So
that's impressive.
We were extremely serious about privacy and security. And that was one of the ways of how we controlled it. And of course, other little things such as like when we're recording, we make sure nothing that is personal information like social securities, house numbers, phone numbers, or anything like that is not being seen. But as far as, again, the importance in ensuring our kids' privacy and our privacy, I mean, it's a catch-22 because we are truly as open as we try to be as open so that people can really like understand certain things that we go through and so forth. But now our daughter's at the age where she can actually be vocal.
She's very vocal. She's like, I don't want that up there, so we're gonna take it down. We really appreciate her opinion. Her opinion is really valuable to us because we don't want, down the line of her to be like, I really didn't like that video or that to come up, in a conversation with anybody. We want her to feel completely, exactly. We want her to feel completely comfortable. And with our kids too, like we want when they get older, we don't want, someone else to pull up a video and be like, is this you or whatever, and them to have to explain something that we did,
Do you feel sometimes as, showing parenting techniques and styles online as well, do people ever, I'm sure, cross boundaries in the comment section, trying to critique you and tell you did something wrong? How do y'all respond to those sort of things?
I remember the very first critique was when Olivia was in her, her car seat. And people were like, you're doing it wrong. It's I understand it was for her safety and everything, but it was just like, it was a critique that the way the person approached it was like a little bit like, okay, I'm a bad parent. I feel like a bad parent. But in reality, I mean, we learned from the situation, of course. Now we know how to properly put her in the seatbelt and stuff. But, throughout the years, we've gotten so many different comments that have been truly like, they've affected us. But luckily we have each other to kind of like discuss it and kind of, talk to each other and go through the bad comments together.
Also on the flip side of that, we're actually extremely lucky. You know how they say it takes a village to raise your children. We truly do have this community. Yeah, we truly have this community that helps us. I remember when we had made a video discussing that our son was diagnosed with autism. and we had no idea. This was a whole brand new world. Mm-hmm. And when we shared that, the amount and wealth of information and support that came in was unbelievable.
Oh, that gives me chills.
Unbelievable. Yeah. I tell you, there's two sides, but we get mostly the side of feeling like we're like not team 2 moms, we're team million moms, because there's just a lot of love too in the community and support for sure.
On TikTok specifically, kind of on that front, introducing your family, because you've been online, quote unquote, for however long, but on TikTok, how was that transition? And are there any differences, notable differences?
Oh my gracious, guys. We love us some TikTok. We love us some TikTok. I mean, we honestly have only been a part of TikTok for just under a year. March, we hit a year on TikTok. And for us, it felt like a rebirth. And let me explain why. It was a new platform for us. So it was a completely new audience. And it felt like a rebirth because all of a sudden we were getting the questions that we got the first year we made a video with Olivia. And it felt like, let's go. Let's do this all over. Now we feel like experts. Before it was trial and error. Now we feel like experts in a sense. And so we were just pretty much regurgitating our content, but the plus or quirks of being on TikTok is making it in short form content and making it exciting and having the music. And so it kind of like gave us this refreshed rebranding feeling of like, oh, let's make this in a different way. Let's make this type of content. The same things we've been talking about, but just now packaging it and presenting it differently. And it's keeping us hip. I feel like some hip moms.
Do you feel it's because it's a whole new generation that you're presenting this information to as well.
Correct.
And I would argue, as part of Gen Z, a much more caring and understanding and accepting. How about that?
Yes.
Generation of young people in America. Have you noticed that there's a difference in the response on an app like TikTok?
Yes.
More inquisitive people, right? For sure.
Definitely definitely super, super inquisitive. But I do feel slightly more open-minded than 9 years ago when we made our first video.
Absolutely.
For sure. This doesn't seem like completely new territory or new ways of how families are formed.
I always love to ask people about their TikTok comments, because I think personally, content creators are one thing, but TikTok comment sections are a whole other animal. I love TikTok comment sections. You think the full brute force of humanity in a TikTok comment section.
Sometimes you just go to the comments because it's just more interesting than
interesting.
It is. Yep. I love it.
Oh, let me run to the comments to see what people are saying. Like, it's hilarious.
Well, and they're very honest. So in kind of that vein of honesty, I also wanted to ask you guys, where is the balance, that you found between being content creators and obviously wanting to get those likes and views? Because I don't want to assume, but I'm sure that you are able to make somewhat of a living off of, your life online. That side of it, but also, again, it's your private family. Like if any other person were like, yeah, you're going to post your family online, they get canceled in a minute. So it's an art form, to be hyper aware of what's going on in the world, but also to be authentic in your portrayal of what's happening in your life. So where is that balance between being a parent and being a content creator?
The best way to prioritize it is being a parent first and a content creator second. And that's just it, period. Parent first, content creator second. And if we keep that motto, that saying, then we're able to kind of differentiate from what we should and shouldn't do and when to do it and when not to do it.
And we've actually approached the situation with our son Jaden on TikTok, because like a lot of people were commenting saying why he's not in any of our TikToks.
That we're leaving him out.
And stuff. But it's honestly because he just doesn't want to, he doesn't want to be in the TikTok. So we're not going to force him to do something that he doesn't want to, because then he's just going to be having a tantrum and it's just going to be forced and stuff. And plus, he comes first to us, you know?
You're not like lights, camera, action, get in front of the screen.
Yeah. And then we also found like kind of a rhythm, like when we do have that sweet spot where all of our kids want to, then it's like, all right, let's make a few stuff right now while we're in this sweet spot, because we know this ain't gonna last long. Like, we know our children, we know when.
Yeah. Draft.
Yes.
Draft. Okay, here are the sweet spots. Okay.
Yes.
So they could be left alone for the next 4 days straight.
Right.
And of course, we prioritize like schoolwork and stuff that comes first, and then we do dinner together as a family and stuff like that. And then we have times where we work. I still work a corporate job as well. I work the evening tour. So then that's another thing we do, is like we have to make sure that I can work, and then the kids in the morning, and then usually it's like the afternoon where we're recording.
Parenting in shifts.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. We do it in shifts, and I think we have a good rhythm and balance now.
We do.
We've been doing it for so long. Yeah.
We work so well together. I think that's the key, And then of course it's our marriage,
Sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I love the comments on y'all's videos of like, I'm waiting for you to sign the adoption papers. Can y'all adopt me already? Do you get sick of those, or are they, they're heartwarming.
Love it. Love it.
Yes.
It's I don't know. It feels great. It feels really good that there's a community that is so open to us. And even within the LGBTQ plus community, you have some have a chosen family because they don't get that love and acceptance in their own home. So if we can, for that moment that they're watching our TikToks or our videos or anything, make them feel included and accepted and that they are normal, then sign us up. Yes, adoption papers signed, sealed, and delivered. Absolutely, because it's our purpose. It's a part of our purpose of sharing our lives online. So we love it. We absolutely love it. I wish. And I tell Denise this. Gosh, I just want to hug people. I just want to just squeeze them tight, give them that good mama hug. Like when we used to go to events, you got a strong mama hug from us for sure. Like that.
Yeah.
Come here.
We make sure to like listen to everybody and just tell them take your time. Yeah. Because I know there's stuff you have to get off your chest. Just fine.
Yeah.
We're your moms.
Yeah.
And I'm serious. That is such a, because I, can relate to it in a certain sense of like, I get a lot of comments that are like, you're my comfort creator, which is a real thing of, when I'm having a panic attack, when I had a really bad day, when I just want to escape, I go to your page because it's lighthearted and it's fun and it's a joke and it's, it's so easy to escape into your favorite person because they're that comfort for you. And it's so clear why, you two are that for so many people.
Thank you.
So and of course, so it makes me happy to hear that, and it's also like in TikTok comments, there's this sense of anonymity, where it's like, usually they don't have they don't have their name in it. It's like a fake name or the username is a joke or whatever. So for them to be able to come to y'all's videos and just pour their heart and soul, and for you to be like, I hear you and you're valid. That is so meaningful when they're not getting that anywhere else. So
absolutely.
You nailed it. Yeah. You nailed it. Nailed it.
Well, to kind of go off of a serious topic, I want to go back to Obama. Y'all talk to Obama.
Yes. The highlight of 2020 for sure.
Yes. Truly a huge highlight. Like, wow, he is the reason why we accidentally started sharing our lives online. So for us, the end of 2020, when we got to be a part of that series of talking to him about his book, it was like a full circle moment, a true full circle of life. Like, do you understand? Like, I was in tears. Like, do you understand?
How are you not in tears? Yeah.
Like, you are the reason. Thank you.
Yeah, this is actually something that Ebony has put out there for us, that eventually one day we would, interview or speak or hug or whatever to Barack Obama, and it came true. Like it's like, wow. If you speak those things into existence, it's
positive,
it's positive, It
No
might
believe in
manifest.
manifestation?
Yes, we
Yes.
do.
Yes.
Yes, we do. Yes, we
Yes.
do.
Love it.
Speak it.
Well, what was the if you don't mind, could you walk us through what the event was, you know, what you said to him, what that conversation was like and how it ended?
So, which is so funny, I have his book right here next to me, but he had just came out with A Promised Land, and it would have been in person had it not been COVID. I keep thinking about that. I'm trying to get off of that. Like, oh man, I would have been like sharing the same airspace with him, but no, I'll take anything. I will take anything.
Sure.
Yeah, and so that's just pretty much how it was manifested. It was just to interview him, to share our story with him, how we started, and then ask him questions about his book, why he wrote the book, and there were some key things in his book that related to our lives, especially the part that he spoke about being, you know, someone who publicly realized that the LGBTQ plus community need, you know, like he needed to show that support. You know, he even talked in his book, like, why did it take him so long to publicly? Yeah, he was, you know, very raw and very deep, and it was just all of that. It was just an opportunity to be able to like ask him, like, were there risks at that time? Why did you take that risk? Why did you feel it was important for you to do that? And so, and then us being, you know, a team of two moms, you know, we had to ask him about the female role models in his lives. I mean, let's not forget about his wife, Michelle Obama. Let's not talk. That's
fashion icon, Michelle Obama.
Fashion icon. What? Yes. I mean, the slow-mo, the hair. Girl. All right, girl.
A moment in time.
Yeah. Truly a moment in time. And, you know, he spoke about, you know, her, his mom, his mother-in-law, and, you know, all of them being influential roles in his life. And so he's oh man, he's just chef's kiss. Oh boy.
Tears back.
And I'll be honest, it took me some time to truly absorb it. It wasn't until like when it happened, I couldn't absorb it. I was like, is this real? It just didn't feel real. And then finally now it's sinking in. It's sinking in.
And that's such a, I mean, to meet one of your heroes. I mean, it's like, wow. That I think that's such a beautiful, like you said, it's so full circle of like, this was the start of your journey. And now through a year as horrible as 2020 was, you know, to kind of have that at the end is kind of like a light at the end of the tunnel. That's really fantastic.
Thank you. Yeah,
absolutely.
Wanted to, since we're kind of, you know, going back in the timeline a little bit, back to your just like TikTok journey, what was a breakthrough moment for you guys? Like, what was the video that you were like, oh, okay, so we're kind of popping on TikTok now? Like, when did you start to rapidly grow that following?
There's two particular TikToks that stand out. One being, it was a very simple 15-second TikTok where Olivia had just answered the fact that I call this one mommy, I call this one mama. Very simple, not hard to understand. Like, that's all she said. I call this my mommy, this my mama. See, simple. And that TikTok took off because we were getting a lot of questions of like, isn't this confusing for her? And so she just wanted to clarify. And then there was the second TikTok, probably more so. There's this really catchy sound. It's all about the music too, you know.
Is it no, that one?
Yeah. Wait, so yep, nope, yep. And all we did was have some questions come on, and I think it was pertaining to us being two women in love, having children. What is this?
I know. And my hair was much like short, and I think people were just like questioning whether or not I was a boy or girl, and then that had some comments as well. So
that's when it started taking off.
And so from that, the followers just ran. I mean, was there like a period of time where you were like, this growth is insane?
Yeah, it was like, I mean, we literally started in March, and I wouldn't say January, March. By April, it just was like 100K, another 100K, another 100K. And I was just like, wow, this algorithm loves us. Like, it was crazy. I mean, like, we're at 4 million now in a span of a year. We're very proud of that. Very, very, very proud of that. On the flip side, we've never been so into numbers at all. Like, we barely keep track. But
Sure.
for those milestones, we do give ourselves a pat on the back. Like we're like, wow, this is great that our family online is growing, because that's where everybody is. When you click that following, then we did a TikTok about, yes, you're adopted. Click the thing. Yes, that's the best way to do it at this point.
Yeah.
So and so now we have 4 million family members at different capacities.
It's amazing.
And I love too that, I'm sure, because this happens a lot when it's a family unit, in any sense online. Y'all have fans specific to you. If people simp over you guys individually, do you get a lot of that? Like, she's so funny.
It's all about Olivia. It's all about her.
I think it is all about Olivia.
She is all about Olivia.
Does she respond to comments? Like, do you get no, not at all?
No, we're not. We're not there yet. We're not there yet. She just got her own phone, but she does not have any of the apps.
She doesn't have any social media apps on them, and we parental control the heck out of it.
Well, I was going to ask, at what age do you think is acceptable for? Is it a teenager? Is it a late teenager? Especially in the modern age.
I think with her, she's very mature for her age. So it could very well be right now, right? What we're doing is we're kind of testing it right now, because one of the features that we love about TikTok is that you can do a TikTok based off of the response of a comment, right? You can you can have that comment up there and do a full TikTok in response to it. And so we've used that feature quite a few times, and typically it's a gentle clap back. It's a very gentle, sometimes,
with love,
with love and a kiss of responding. And she's included in that. She's actually sometimes the one reading those negative comments and gently explaining back. And we are just looking at seeing how she's responding to that, because we just want to make sure she understands both sides of sharing our lives online. So right now we're testing it. We're seeing, does it affect her? How does she feel, and so forth? But I think honestly, if Olivia had access to it, she would be very mature enough.
She's very mature. I think she'll be like, okay, maybe I shouldn't, do this or whatever. She's very mature.
She sounds very smart.
Yeah.
Offer lessons and can I take some?
Yeah.
Now, before we kind of start wrapping up, I want to get the tea. I want to get, what sides of TikTok are you on your For You page?
All right.
How often do you scroll? What are your rabbit holes?
Okay.
What's going on?
Oh man, mine is cooking.
Yeah.
Anything cooking, cleaning for some reason.
I love cleaning TikToks. Please speed them up.
That's my two.
Mine is, I think that's another thing about TikTok, that I love how it's interest based. I love how it's interest based, but I love those pocket moments when you fall into a new world and then you dig a hole. But I would say, for me, I'm like moms of TikTok. I'm definitely very strong lesbian TikTok community. Definitely pops up a lot. What other sides of TikTok? Sometimes I still don't get it, but sometimes I fall into alt TikTok. I'm still understanding it, but it's just, everybody is just so creative. Extremely creative. There are some really talented, creative folks on this platform.
Oh, you never would have found if it weren't
never would have found, never would have been maybe even interested in what they're talking about or what their hobbies are. But until you just come across it, and I love that. I love that about the platform.
Yeah, because you're discovering, new talented people, but at the same time, you're learning a little bit about yourself. I didn't know I like that.
Yep, that's true.
ASMR, this is so weird. And now all my For You pages ASMR, and I'm like, oh, got it. I'm weird.
I be falling into the TikToks that show you a clip of a movie. Now I know what to go watch. Now I'll be like, let me go run and watch that.
Yeah, the What Lives in Your Head Rent Free. Those.
Yes.
Well, who are some of y'all's favorite creators, if you can name some off the top of your head? Do you have any like names, or is it more just like sides of TikTok?
Some of my favorite creators, I love, oh my gosh, Christian. Oh, he's so funny. We're so into Jojo Siwa. Don't tell nobody. Don't tell nobody. Don't tell nobody.
You're like, I have kids. It's okay.
I have kids. Okay. If my daughter's into it, we're pretty much into it because we got to watch it over and over and over and see it over and over again. Mm-hmm. We got to buy this and buy that and that and that. So we got to get into it too. But there's a lot of creators on there. I can't really think off the top of my head, but there's a lot of creators within the LGBTQ community that have some very strong, powerful voices. Some very strong creators that are part of the Black community. A lot of comedians that just keep the humor and keep you laughing and keep you smiling. So I don't want to like single anyone out, but there's just a lot of communities.
Puerto Rican, so like when I see like people like making food with like the stuff that I cook with, I really enjoy that because I don't really see that in other platforms. So to see them use like, yeah, exactly. I love that.
Love it. Yeah. I love it. Also, can we just kind of a side note? I don't know how much time we have. Latina music on TikTok. It has gotten audience that probably reggaeton is like one of the number one genres in the world. Like J Balvin is the most streamed artist, but like to see these audios go viral and people dance to them, know that like it's been around for forever. It's just because we're in America. It's not really number one. It's fantastic. And
to see other people dance to these music is like, whoa, yes, loving it.
It has such this potential to unify us. When it does. A lot of divided.
It does.
Oh, you nailed it by saying that. Oh, yes.
Oh, a big juicy brain. I'm just thinking.
Yes,
all the time.
You did.
Yes.
Yes. Well, I have one final question for you guys.
Yeah.
As my parents now, thank you.
Yes, you are, girl.
What is
you're
the best advice that you have either received or that you just have about life? What's something that you want everyone to just know and stick with them?
Don't be afraid to be who you are.
That's the same thing I was gonna say.
Period. Period. And Denise is really great at this too, because she definitely is truly authentic to herself, and how she presents herself, and it goes a lot against a lot of norms of what women and how women should present themselves. But definitely don't be afraid to be who you are. And by being who you are, I guarantee you will touch at least someone that can identify and relate to you and to your story as is. Just be who you are. Don't be afraid.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it took some time to generally find that, generally to figure out who I authentically wanted to be. But today I'm living who I authentically want to be, and just don't be afraid to do that. Just please do it.
and
it's
one
like
of
liberating.
The phrases, it gets better.
Yes.
Just know it gets better. So
it always gets better.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for taking the time to talk. This was so much fun.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Brittany, for having us. You are amazing. Okay, let's talk about you. Amazing host.
This is the chillest interview I've ever had.
That's the best, this rigid structure. But I just want to talk to you guys. You know what I mean? I want to talk to everybody who has a story to tell. And you guys have a beautiful story to tell. So
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Well, where can we find you? What are your handles?
Yes. You could find us at Team TEAM. Sometimes people think we're Teen Moms, like TEEN. From the show Teen Moms on MTV. No, that's not us. That's not. We are Team 2 Moms.
Well, thank you guys again.
Thank you.